Hello again, my name is Ernest Minu. This bulletin is streaming live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV 144. We're also live on Facebook. We are streaming live on myjoyonline.com. Thank you very much for joining us once again. And we begin from the Ashanti region, where the Otumfuo Osei Tutu II has expressed worry about the proliferation of weapons in the country. He says the increase of arms in the system could be a sign that the people have lost trust in the police service. The issue of weapons has become a threat to security as the general elections draw near. Otumfuo Osei Tutu expressed these concerns when the IGP James Opombuenu paid a courtesy call on him ahead of the police simulation exercise for the 2020 elections. Here's a report by Nanaya Ojima.
A research conducted by the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center in 2014 revealed 2.3 million small arms are in civilian hands, with 1.1 million of them unregistered. Police records show only 100,000 of licenses for these registered arms are renewed annually. Otumfuo Osei Tutu is charging the police to deal with the proliferation of arms in the country.
I
read yesterday that there are a lot of small arms in the country. Why is that so? If it has gotten to a point that civilians are purchasing small arms for themselves, then it means the people do not trust you, the police. You will have to consider that critically to ensure that this election is peaceful. The occupant of the Golden Stool also wants police to thoroughly investigate recent issues of insecurity in the country, especially highway robberies. He believes the ability of the police to handle such issues will contribute to peaceful elections.
There
have been increase in highway robberies recently. Even members of parliament have become targets, with one losing his life to a highway robbery. You have been trained to investigate such matters. I entreat you to investigate all the issues. It is towards ensuring peace in the upcoming elections. The IGP James Opombuenu, after witnessing a simulation exercise by the police, assured the public of heightened security throughout the election period.
What I'm saying that before, during, and after the elections, we are prepared to deal with any situation that comes. We have seen the simulation, we have seen the patrols in the night, the patrols in the day. So whatever happens, we are prepared to deal with it. You know, we had the registration, and the registration gave us an insight as to which places we need to beef up security, which places we need to observe. So after the registration, we have gone back to the drawing board and identified several hotspots that we are going to beef up security with at.
From Kumasi for JoyNews, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
We stay on the proliferation of arms. Now, the Small Arms Commission says the situation is becoming worrying. Speaking on the polls Thursday, Executive Director Jones Applem has been given some date and details on the arms in circulation and what the commission intends to do.
From police statistics, comparing 2019 to 2020, from January to June, they have seen an increase of 74.4% increase in the number of people who are licensing revolvers and pistols. Normally, revolvers and pistols are in the same category. 74, yeah, that is from the police 2020 statistics. And so, if you see something like that as a commission, obviously, you get worried. You want to know why people are registering, because the data is giving us certain signals. Proliferation of guns hurts the society in many ways. That officer who has been arrested, he thought that probably he was trying to assist a friend, or he's trying to If you smuggle a gun in and you sell it, you might sell it to the wrong person. The one who will be affected can be your wife, can be your sister, can be you yourself. And that's one of the things that a lot of Ghanaians don't understand. You understand? That is why the issue about renewal of firearms licenses in Ghana is a very big issue for the Small Arms Commission now. We are in a serious engagement with the police service to see how we can up the number of renewals. There are a lot of people in Ghana really, according by the law, are holding their weapons illicitly.
Let's do some other stories now. And 6 Chinese nationals have been arrested for mining illegally in the farming enclave of Pukrom in the Ashanti region as government moves in to protect key natural resources from illegal mining. The Sustainable Land and Water Management Task Force also seized 4 excavators used in destroying large tracts of farmland and water bodies in the area. Love FM's Erastus Asaridonko followed the team on its first assignment at Pokrom in the Amansia West district of the Ashanti region and filed the following report.
The withdrawal of various security task force from illegal mining enforcement regimes has emboldened some illegal miners in the hinterlands. Our only hygienic source of water here has been destroyed. Now our source of water for drinking and farming is gone. These days we can't farm in the dry season due to polluted water sources. Here at Dato, near Pokukrum, large tracts of farmlands growing cocoa and other crops have been destroyed to serve illegal mining interests. Led by Nana Chum Ajikum, the Sustainable Land and Water Management Task Force is leading an onslaught against the destruction of natural resources. 6 Chinese nationals were arrested here at Pokukrum. They have since been transferred to the Kumasi Central Police for processing. 4 excavators seized from the site have also been sent to Kumasi. Mr. Chum Ajikum says the team seeks to protect natural resources and protect those in legitimate mining.
We are
here to stop individuals parading as security personnel to rob legitimate miners of their produce. We are also here to stop destruction of rivers and streams and illegal mining in the forest by Chinese nationals supported by Ghanaians. Today, we've arrested 6 Chinese and seized about 5 excavators.
Small scale mining. Because we'll be entering the crew. Emma Waya Juma, who knew so. The Chinese never better. Now, Waya Adi, Okaka, near Sanabu, Akahu. Yachi Chinese for in Sia. Any excavator so be in.
Reporting for JoyNews, Erastus Asaridonko, Kumasi.
Let me take you to the courts now. A police investigator with the police CID, Detective Chief Inspector Bernard Berko, has told an Accra High Court that forensic analysis has been carried out on a leaked tape said to be the voice of the NDC National Chairman Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo. Now, Mr. Ampofo and a member of the party's communication team, that's Kweku Buahin, have been accused by state prosecutors of plotting to undertake series of criminal activities targeted at EC Chairperson Jean Mensah and others, including national security operatives. They have since denied the allegations and described the audio as doctors. State prosecutors have today told the court a reputable forensic institution has analyzed the tape. Joseph Akable is our man in court and he joins us via Zoom. Now, Joseph, do we know what the findings of the forensic analysis is and which institution are we talking about?
And so, Ernest, this analysis was carried out by the Israel Forensics Institute. We are told that they received a copy of the leaked tape and compared it to another tape that has Mr. Ofosu-Ampofo addressing party supporters shortly after he had been interrogated by the police CID. In terms of what the findings are, we do not know what the findings are. The reason being that the lawyers have indicated that they intend to object to the audio being accepted as evidence. They also make the point that there are some issues that they have. In fact, for the last 15 minutes, the audio was played to the hearing of everyone in the courtroom. And for about 15 minutes, an individual is heard on the tape condemning what has happened at the violence that marred the Ayawaso West Wagon by-election. The individual also goes a step further to talk about the fact that they intend to undertake certain attacks against the EC chairperson and also the Peace Council chairperson, among other individuals, including national security operatives. But for now, we do not know what the findings of this particular forensic analysis indicates.
And just like you indicated, there's a certain push to have the leak tape rejected in court. But has the Israeli company handed over this to the court? Do we know that?
In fact, the report, we understand, is in the custody of the court.
Okay.
The push to reject the audio is on the basis that if indeed it was a secret recording, then it amounts to a breach of Mr. Fosampofo's privacy, which raises constitutional issues. And that is the basis that the lawyers intend to target the issue from. The other point that has come up strongly in the course of the analysis regarding this particular case has been where the tape was obtained from. Now, we are being told by the police prosecutors that this is audio that they obtained from our sister station at Adom FM. Okay. And so this is not something that they secretly recorded themselves. They said they obtained it from our sister station at Adom FM, and that is what they've submitted together with another speech recording of Mr. Ampofo speaking at the CID headquarters shortly after he was interrogated. And so they are comparing those two tapes, and that is what forms the basis of the report, which is in the custody of the court. Now, when the audio was playing, it ended abruptly. And by abruptly, I mean that the AG's department, the Director of Public Prosecution, says that it ended earlier than she expects it to end. And so that is not the full recording that she intends to give to the court. And so the lawyers on both sides have agreed to take an adjournment, and that they are going to come back on the 19th of November, where the state will bring back the full audio, which it says it wants to play to the court. Then afterwards, the argument will be taken as to whether or not it should be accepted by the court or not. After, if it's accepted, then the forensic report will be submitted, of which the whole world will know whether the analysis points to the fact that it was the NDC chairman's voice or it wasn't his voice.
And just a quick one, the competence or integrity of this Israeli company is not being contested.
At this stage, no issues have been raised for now.
Thank you very much. That's our court correspondent, Joseph Akable, bringing us details on that case involving the national chairman of the opposition NDC, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, who has been accused of plotting to, among other things, kidnap some state officials, including the chairperson of the Electoral Commission and some other national security operatives. The analysis has been done on the tape, and going forward, we'll bring you details on what transpires in court. This is your election headquarters. And let me bring you some election-related stories. Ashanti Region Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Sampine, has disclosed to JoyNews the expelled member of Parliament for Fomena, Andrew Amoako-Esiama, is free to rejoin the party's side of Parliament if he wins the seat as an independent candidate. Now, Mr. Esiama was sacked from the party for violating its constitution after he refused to back down on his stance following pleas from the executives. The NPP has written to the leadership of Parliament notifying it of its decision. We'll give you an update on that from the House shortly, but first, listen to Sampine when he spoke on the matter on Joy Prime, on Prime Morning, on Joy Prime.
Article 39 of the party constitution is clear that if Sampine decides to run against the party's sponsored candidate, automatically you forfeit membership of the party. That is it. The national constitution also is clear on this, that if you're a member of Parliament and you cross carpet, you lose your position. If there had been 3 months, more than 3 months before the election, there would have been a by-election in Fomena, because he's going as an independent candidate. It tells you you've left the membership of the New Patriotic Party. The national constitution states clearly that if a member of Parliament crosses carpet, he loses membership of the House. And if it's more than 3 months before a general election, there's a by-election to select another
independent candidates who have sat with the majority before.
Of course, that's a different matter. He is not there as an independent candidate.
Okay,
If he wins, the 2020 elections as an independent candidate, then the rules of the House says that you need to align yourself with one of the, either the majority.
Would you accept
if you desire, definitely. If he comes in that, yes, I've won as an independent candidate, but I want to align myself in Parliament with the majority, fine.
Now, President of Imani Africa, Franklin Cudjoe, has described as an educative and informative debate among the minority political parties in the country. Last night, 5 presidential aspirants locked horns on JoyNews Imani Africa debate with bold statements about why the electorate should consider them as a formidable third force. Organizers of the debate, Imani Africa, says it looks forward to a vice presidential debate between the 2 major political parties. We can now hear from Franklin Cudjoe. We'll do that shortly. But first, let's bring you highlights of the event as it happened yesterday at the Investor Professional Studies Accra.
It was an electrified stage with the presidential candidates of the minority political parties sharing their vision, major policy alternatives, and proposals to tackle the endemic issues stagnating Ghana's development. Each of the presidential aspirants had a message of hope for the country. Bridget Jogbonuku of the PPP, CPP presidential candidate Ivor Greenstreet, and the APC's Hassan Ayariga, David Apasera of the PNC, and LPG's Kofi Akpalu announced their major policy statements on the big stage. The debate centered around law and order, security, unemployment, among others. It took a heated turn when moderators asked the candidates what their economic recovery policies were for the country.
We have deficits in food, so we need to change our consumption pattern to produce locally what we eat and eat what we produce. This is what we need, a production hub. When we are able to build a production hub, we go on to a manufacturing hub, then an industrial hub. You don't jump from up and say you are building buildings in the sky. That will not happen under my leadership. Thank you.
Unfortunately, the problem is far more complex. We have a vast debt overhanging this nation. We have a vast amount of arrears that we haven't paid all contractors, all invoices, all state organizations, which are allowing this economy to be weighed under this level of debt. Merely by paying all of these arrears and not taking on new debt for new projects, cleansing the system of all these difficulties alone will provide a stimulus to move this nation forward.
Mr. Akpalu, you have that alternative?
Oh yeah, we need to create entrepreneurs here in Ghana. Millionaires, we need to create millionaires, we need to help people to make it right here in Ghana. Though I believe in FDIs, but we need to empower our own to make it right here in Ghana. So we need to create collective investment whereby millions of Ghanaians can put $500 each to create $500 million than bringing somebody with $500 million to invest here in Ghana.
Thank you. Madam Bridget Jogbonuku, the PPP has an alternative for us.
We've always talked about jobs. And one would ask, how do we create these jobs? I do something like that. And in trying to add value, the entire value chain of these industries are going to be providing jobs for the youth in this area. Indigenous industry, which therefore can be taxed and therefore can be revenue for the country. So let's start with the jobs.
Thank you. Mr. David Apasera.
Yes, certainly we need to look at investing in our people, encouraging our people to produce what we want. We cannot continue to rely on foreign imports. And we have to begin first with stopping the importation of finished petroleum products. We have a refinery in Ghana, and fortunately now we produce crude oil. We should be able to refine and rather export finished product rather than importing finished product. We are burning the dollar on the street, in our cars, and we say the city is falling.
Then came the radical proposals on how some of the candidates intend to deal with corruption and the perceived breakdown in security.
If we find that you're corrupt, that your salary cannot buy you the kind of cars you use, your salary cannot fetch you the kind of house you live in, you will have to answer to a special independent prosecutor, not the one we have, an autonomous special independent prosecutor. And he will take you on. You will declare your asset no matter who you are, and we'll have a social security that will track information of every Ghanaian working in Ghana, living in Ghana, and doing business in Ghana. It is very simple. Punish them and everybody will be scared. I will go to jail. The first day I become president, I'm going to sit in the cells. This is to show that anybody corrupt will not have it easy in my government.
Very interesting debate it was there. We can now hear from President of Imani Africa, Franklin Kujo, who says it is important for political parties to debate ideas and policies to help the voter make an informed decision.
It was a beautiful program yesterday. It was a discussion of wits, deliberations of serious minds, and indeed I pity those who have decided not to be part of debate. Because they are losing so much, they are not taking the opportunity to explain to people, to be challenged, to be able to go into the depths of their ideas and then tell people exactly what they are providing in terms of alternatives. And so I enjoyed myself yesterday, and I bet many people enjoyed themselves. But at the same time, I got a lot educated. I mean, there was so much education for me, because somehow people assume that these are minor parties or minority parties, and they may not necessarily possess the skillful art of governance. What you saw yesterday, displayed yesterday on that platform, was a combination of wits, was a combination of what you call a fianyansa, was a combination of what you would call pragmatism, honesty, and indeed some level of meritocracy. One of the things we should be careful about is the perception that because we've held a debate, then obviously the fortunes of parties get necessarily shot up, and that they may have to outperform during the votes. You see, it will happen immediately in a country where we have entrenched the perception that only two parties may have to take turns in ruling this country. And essentially so because, you see, it is very difficult to mobilize minds around, new ideas. So while I admit that, yes, debates of this nature may not necessarily move the needle a little bit, I think what significantly it has done, or it will do, is to arm the electorate, right, with fresh ideas and fresh inquisitorial minds, so that they can audit the promises of the so-called larger parties when they come to them for their votes. So it's both an educational enterprise that I suspect we should see that value in, as well as nursing the seeds for some deepening the growth of our democracy.
Now, former Ghana's deputy ambassador to China is claiming the opposition NDC's manifesto is causing problems for the government. Now, Horace Ni Ayi Ankara says better policies in the manifesto is a clear indication that the party would win the December 7 elections. According to him, the NDC is the only party that will rescue Ghana from the NPP. Ni Ayi Ankara was speaking at one of the party's events in Old Tafo, Pankrono constituency to seek for voters backing ahead of the general elections. Here's a report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
The theme for the event, rekindling the spirit of volunteerism and youth activism for Victory 2020, saw different speakers urging the youth to vote for the former president for better Ghana. Aspiring member of parliament for Old Tafo Pankrono constituency on the ticket of the NDC, Samuddin Mohammed Kamil says the party is poised to change the lives of the youth in the constituency.
We in NDC are poised to change the life of the youngsters. We are poised to see that the future is brighter for all of us. And everybody can testify. There is no nation that can prosper when we don't have the youth that have a better future. The future of these youngsters are in the NDC. As we can all see, since 2016 up to today, the youth are suffering. No permanent job for them. As you can all testify, no vocational, no technical, nothing. The only thing that we've heard is some recruitment which are not sustainable. We are telling all NABCO beneficiaries that when NDC comes to power, it is going to be a permanent job for them, where they can get as equally salary as their counterparts in the other field.
Mr. Kamel says his leadership as a member of parliament will see to it that constant heavy vehicular traffic in the constituency is addressed.
We are going to, as an MP with the municipal, to build or to construct bus stop, which has been a major thing that is causing vehicular traffic. Right. So when we come, inshallah, we are going to ensure that these bus stops are built in Tafo constituency and its environs, so that it will ease this major vehicular traffic.
Former Ghana's deputy ambassador to China, Ni Ai Ankra, states the NDC is the only political party that can rescue Ghana. According to him, the party's manifesto is causing problems for the government.
We have come out with better policies. This is the first time that I have seen a political party's manifesto cause problems for the incumbent. So we can all see that the policies that the NDC has at the moment, which is a policy to enhance the Ghanaian, is the kind of manifesto that we've brought that has unsettled the MPP.
Away from the campaign trail, manufacturer of consumer goods, PZ Cousins, has urged corporate bodies to reach out and assist the less privileged who are the hardest hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. Health experts have advised washing of hands with soap and running water as the surest way to protect oneself from the novel coronavirus. But sadly, some children do not have access to clean running water or soap. To mark Global Hand Washing Day, PZ Cousins has donated disinfectant soaps as well as sanitizers to orphan children at Teshi here in Accra. Here's a report by JoyNews.
Turning needy children into responsible citizens. That's the vision of the owners of Teshi Orphanage. For the past 2 decades, the orphanage has been running on the benevolence of citizens. But like many sectors of the economy, the COVID-19 pandemic hit the orphanage hard. As part of measures to support the operations of the facility, PZ Cousins donated disinfectants, soaps, as well as sanitizers to the Teshi Orphanage. Head of Brand Development and Activation, Hafsa Arthur, said it is not enough to admonish people to maintain proper hygiene. According to her, government and organizations ought to support them with the right materials to do so.
You would agree with me that this year is so critical that we send the message. You cannot say it's enough, because even as adults, some of us don't always do as we ought to do. And so for us at PZ Cousins, every year we celebrate Global Hand Washing Day in different ways. And this year we thought that if the theme was hand hygiene for all, then let's reach out a little bit more.
The children, numbering over 20, were then taught how to wash their hands properly. Some of them share their excitement with JoyNews.
Whatever that they have given to us is going to help us a lot in terms of our going out and coming in. The washing of our hands, the hand sanitizer is going to help us really well. So I want to say God richly bless them.
May God richly bless them for the love they have shown to us. And we promise them that whatever they teach us, we will practice it till next time when they come.
Faustina Safo for JoyNews.
And here at the Multimedia Group, staff got some free health screening courtesy MDS Lancet Laboratories. And the group has been here for 3 days screening the workers. The workers have been undergoing hepatitis B and blood sugar testing. Speaking to JoyNews, the Assistant Marketing Manager of MDS Lancet, Alvin Katahina, talked about the need for everyone to know their hepatitis B status.
About 400 staff of the Multimedia Group are expected to be screened. Assistant Marketing Manager of MDS Lancet, Alvin Katahena, spoke about the various tests conducted.
We're here to screen multimedia staff for blood sugar and hepatitis B. This is part of activities that we are organizing to launch our new Tema Community 1 branch. We already have one branch in Tema, Community 9, opposite the Tema General Hospital, but we are opening another one in Tema Community 1 to make our services more accessible.
Now, you spoke about the hepatitis B testing as well as the blood sugar testing that you are conducting here at the premises of Multimedia Group Limited. What other tests do you conduct?
Well, we have some like kidney function, we have liver function, we have the lipid profiles. We also got your full blood counts as well. Now, all these tests I've mentioned are just examples of some of the tests that you do when you want to come and do your routine tests.
Some members of the Multimedia Group who partook in the testing had this to share about their experience after having gone through the processes involved.
I don't think I have any of the symptoms, so yeah, I'm fine.
Well, I think it's good. Actually, this is my first time.
MDS Lancet is one of the foremost medical laboratories in Africa with offices in Ghana and South Africa.
Now, the Alliance for Green Africa Revolution is advocating digital transformation. We have details of that coming up in business here on News Today. Stay with us.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA, is advocating a digital transformation to reduce the cost of transactions between farmers and farm input dealers. The Alliance believes this will also show up the confidence of financial institutions in the agri sector. Precious Semevo has more from a two-day agricultural input fair and stakeholder sensitization at Sunyane in the Bono region.
The two-day agricultural input fair and stakeholder sensitization in Sunyane under the theme Synergies for Agricultural Transformation through the value chain approach is to facilitate a long-lasting relationship among the agro-input dealers, farmers, financial institutions and other stakeholders. It is aimed at helping to achieve increased output. Juliana Asante Date is the lead consultant for agribusiness in sustainable natural African plant products.
We came together as the 5 members of the consortium and then were to rate 143,000 farmers in the northern Ghana, Obie, and also in the Afram Plains. We've realized the centrality of inputs. So we are talking about hybrid seed, we are talking about improved seed, and we're also talking about good quality agro inputs. We want to connect you directly to the agro input distributors and dealers so that those business relationships are facilitated. And even when the project is no more, you would know exactly where to go for the inputs that you need to use so that you can achieve the productivity that will result in increased output.
Addressing the opening session of the fair, the president of African Fertilizer and Agribusiness Partnership, AFAP, Jason Scarpon, expressed hope the support of all stakeholders during the COVID-19 period will be sustained.
Many of the countries where I go, there's a real feeling of being shut down, dislocated, not working, looking to be rescued, saved, supported, and work has deteriorated. It's not what I've seen in Ghana. I've been nothing less than shocked at the efforts the agri-dealers are making to continue with their business, to continue serving smallholder farmers. The efforts of the ministry, the efforts of AGRA, the efforts of all the partners to sustain the good work we're doing during this difficult time.
Dr. Victor Entry, Head of Input Distribution and Agro-Dealer Development at Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA, told Joy Business, digitization of farmers and farming input comes with many benefits, including the cost of a transaction.
Now, radio is a principal medium for receiving climate information by most farmers, and social media is the least. This part of financed by the Environmental Science Department of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. The findings made known at a Climate Information Services workshop in Kumasi saw 74.6% of farmers rely on radio and 20.1% on social media for climate information. Philip Entry J is an associate professor at the Environmental Science Department of the KNUST.
Our study showed that over 40% of farmers in the study area in Upper East region are not getting access to climate information, and this has implication for our farming communities. These are rainfall dependent agricultural farmers or agricultural systems, and therefore if they cannot have access to climate information, that will help them to build their capacity to address the effects of climate change. It's a challenge that we need to address. Of course, Ghana's agricultural system is purely dependent on rainfall. It means that anytime there are disruptions in the rain patterns, it affects our agricultural systems. But we also need to understand that as a country, climate change poses or presents significant challenges for the attainment of food security and attainment of our nationally determined contribution that have been submitted to as part of the Paris Climate Agreement. And we need to do whatever is within our capacity to address some of the challenges that is posed by climate change, especially for our smallholder farmers whose livelihoods are being threatened by climate change and its associated impacts.
There's plenty more business news at the top of the hour. Sports is up next.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the sports segment with me, Oreku Ampofo. We do start off on a very sad note as owner and bankroller of Division 1 club Brekum Arsenals have lost their owner Alhaji Yakubu Moro, who passed away yesterday evening. We do have more for you in the following report.
Was confirmed dead on Thursday evening at the Rich Regional Hospital after battling a short illness. Under Moro's tenure, Brekum Arsenal were promoted to the Ghana Premier League in 2000 and stayed in the elite division for the next 13 years. As per Islamic practice, Alhaji Moro will be buried later today. Asante Kotoko, alongside other Ghanaian clubs, have shared their condolences.
Well, we do wish our condolences from the sports desk straight to, Brekum Arsenals and everyone involved with the club as well. It's indeed a sad time for the team, considering that the football season just kicks off next month. But let's get to Zoom now and speak to the chairman of the Ghana League Clubs Association, Mr. Kujo Fianu. And it's a pleasure to have you here, Mr. Kujo Fianu. First off, you're a man that you've worked very closely with Alhaji Moro. Tell us what type of man he is, or he was, sorry.
Thank you very much. Alhaji Yakubu Moro was an embodiment of football. He gave his all to football. He played football in his youthful days, and when he hung his boots, he decided to go into football administration and gave birth to Brekum Arsenal. I've engaged in several encounters when I was the CEO of Ash Gold, be it home or be it Brekum. He was a very affable person. And I would just want to say that he has paid his dues to Ghana football. Even at the time he was facing health challenges, he gave his all. And just last night, I was in a meeting when the name cropped up. I was in a meeting with one of his old players that he groomed to become an international star in the person of John Pencil. And we were talking about his progression from Arsenal to become a superstar. And we mentioned the late Yakubu Moro's name severally in our conversation, not knowing that was the last time we were indirectly paying our tributes to him. A couple of weeks ago, when we were all facing these challenges with the COVID funds, he was one of my regular callers. My early morning calls were coming from Alhaji Yakubu Moro. He wanted to find out when the COVID relief fund will be disbursed because he felt his players were at the receiving end. He paid his dues. What is our concern mostly now is the future of Brekum Arsenal, where he raised that club to. Today is a very bad day, a Black Friday for all of us. He has left a big shoe behind. That will be very difficult to fill. And we can write all the tributes in his memory, but he has left an indelible mark on the history of Ghana football. Very sad day for all of us. People of Brekum will miss him. Ghana football has lost a colossus, and a very difficult. We are in a very difficult moment now, coming to terms with the fact that yes, Alhaji Umaro Yakubu is no more with us.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Kujofiani. We know how close he was for you. He was to you, and thank you very much for your time and sharing your emotions at this very difficult period. Our condolences to you as well, that you stay strong in this tough period, and thank you once again for spending time with us on this sports segment. And we just spoke to the GALCA chairman, Mr. Kujofiani, who was a very, very good friend and worked with the late Alhaji Umaro, who was the owner of Brekum Arsenal's club, who play in the Division 1 club. He passed away yesterday evening at the Regional Hospital after battling with a short illness.